and gentlemen, I am the CHALL, your sports reporter, and welcome to another Doncaster Rovers video. Now today, we'll be talking about two contracts, one accepted, one rejected. Now, of course, I'm going to talk about both in this video. So before we get started, please do like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so you never miss another sports update. And for now, let's get into our first contract, the accepted contract for highly rated youth star Bobby Faulkner. So Rovers are delighted to confirm that Doncaster-born centre-back Bobby Faulkner has agreed a brand new 2-year deal. The 17-year-old reached the end of his first professional contract and has opted to continue his development with his hometown club. From Norton, he joined Rovers at under-16 level and impressed with his physicality and no-nonsense defending. He studied at Club Doncaster Sports College alongside his training and also spent time on loan last term with Frickley Athletic. He regularly trained with the first team squad last season and, after receiving a professional contract back in November, was part of the Matchday 18 on the matchday squad on 7 occasions. An ankle injury ended Faulkner's season early and denied him another loan move away from Rovers at National League North level. Now, Faulkner said, "I'm excited to keep on building. It's great for me that a new deal has come around so quickly, and I'm just looking forward to the future now. I'm a Rovers fan, and playing for the club I watched when I was a kid is amazing. I know how proud my family and friends are, and that means so much." Now, the first team manager, Gary McSheffrey, was in the charge of the under-18s group when Faulkner was invited for a trial and is impressed with the development since. He said on the club's official website, "I'm really pleased to get the deal done, and I've been really pleased with Bobby's progress. We took him in for a trial period initially, but the qualities that he possessed was rolling back the years. A throwback centre-half, putting his body on the line, loving blocked shots, winning headers and tackling. He showed the hunger that he wants to be here, wants to make it and be a pro footballer. He's earned his new deal and he's one of those players that has the raw materials and ability to be a good centre-back. We've got to polish up all the other bits and he could really be a good one for us." Now that's Bobby Faulkner, but there is another contract that was officially rejected today, and this was on John Bostock. So let's have a look at what's been said on Bostock's exit. So the head of football operations, James Coppinger, has confirmed that midfielder John Bostock will depart Doncaster Rovers after turning down the offer of a new contract at the club. The 30-year-old was offered fresh terms with his initial 18-month deal coming to an end this summer, but it's made clear that his desire to play his trade at a higher level. Despite Bostock's departure, Gary McSheffrey has a midfield which has been further strengthened by the addition of Harrison Biggins, alongside the likes of Tommy Rowe, Adam Clayton and Ben Close. Coppinger said, "John turned his contract down, but I can't speak highly enough of him as both a person and a player. I played with him when he first signed, I was around him last season. He's a great guy and the way he conducts himself throughout this process has been excellent. He feels he can play at a higher level and doesn't want to step into League 2, which we respect, and we wish him all the best from the club's perspective. He was really good in how he communicated, he had the club's best interest at heart and was honest all the way through. We can now move forward and plan without him. We've brought Harrison Biggins in and he complements the lads already here to create what we believe is one of the best midfields in the division." So that is the stories on both Bostock and Faulkner, but I'm going to share my thoughts on why I think Faulkner accepting his new contract is amazing for our long-term future development of the club and for the player, and also John Bostock's rejected contract as to why I think it could and could not be the right move for the player and the club. So there we are, Doncaster Rovers fans, or fellow Doncaster Rovers fans like myself. That is what's been going on. So we are bringing out another video today about the pre-season schedule. That will be coming out literally as soon as you're watching this, fingers crossed, so stay tuned for that. We do have some other content coming from the world of ice hockey as well, so if you're an ice hockey fan, stay tuned for that. But let's talk a bit more in depth about these two new contracts then. So one accepted, one rejected. First of all, I'm going to talk about Bobby Faulkner and then talk more in depth about John Bostock, because Bostock I've got a little bit more to talk about with that one. So Bobby Faulkner, first of all, I think there's every single positive about this deal. I think a brand new 2-year deal is amazing. Very highly rated at non-league level at Frickley. You know, he has the ability to be a leader, has the ability to command, has the ability to be that proper classic vintage no-nonsense centre-back. And I really do hope he gets first team football in the next couple of a couple of years' time, or in the next year or two. It'd be great to see him get some first-team football under his belt. He will probably get loaned out. I think it's been mentioned somewhere that he probably will get loaned out to where we don't know. I'm hoping it's no disrespect to Frickley, but I'm hoping it's a step up from Frickley. I'm hoping it's somewhere like in the National League North, or maybe even the Vanarama National League, in that sort of top tier of non-league football. But more realistically, it's going to be probably National League North or South, or maybe down there in the Northern Premier League division, maybe. I could be wrong though, but I think that's probably where we're going to see him loaned out next season, this upcoming season. Look, do I think it's the right move to loan him out to the National League North, South, or maybe the division below that? I do believe it's the right move. Get him some more first-team football under his belt, get him more chances to lead a defensive back line under his belt, and you know, we will see. But before you loan him out, I would suggest maybe using him in a pre-season game or two if you haven't loaned him out before pre-season starts next month, because you know, this time next month we'll have our first pre-season game pretty much. So you know, if you've not got him loaned out by then, I would like to see him maybe feature in a couple of pre-season games, or maybe start or just play some part in a couple of pre-season games, like the first couple of pre-season games maybe, just to give him that first team feel at Rovers, just to give him that sort of playing under his belt, a hometown club kind of feel. And I think that would be great for his development going into a loan spell down at non-league level next season. I think that'd be the way to go for me, but I think there's every positive about this deal. I think he's a really promising young player from what I've seen, and you know, there's all the chance that Bobby could succeed if we develop him the right way. So I've got nothing but praise for this deal, and you know, who knows? I think James Coppinger even said in his interview about Faulkner, I think he won't be surprised if he sat down a year from now and sits talking about another contract. You know, Faulkner loves this club, he loves Doncaster, he loves playing for the club, loves playing for the city now, not town, city. He loves playing for the city of Doncaster, and he wears the heart on his sleeve every game. So, you know, I've got no doubts about Bobby Faulkner. To be honest with you, in a few years' time, if he was like, what, 21, 22 years old, and he was probably one of the best defenders we've seen in years, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets picked up by a club in a higher division in the future, because this guy has so much potential. Now about Bostock. Look, first of all, on a personal level, I am sad that he's departing. You know, I've mentioned this a couple of times, a few times on the channel now. Bostock's a huge fan of the content. One thing I'll always remember about Bostock, and it was around this time last year, it was the Rosington main pre-season match, and he told me about the season before last, about, you know the season when Lakilo was there for the second time on the permanent, and him and a few others would watch my videos in the dressing room the season before. It was sort of like the Darren Moore, Andy Butler season, and they'll watch a couple of my videos in the dressing room. I think they watched the Lakilo Peterborough review video. You guys remember that one. And, you know, just listening to him say that, someone like John Bostock, who's been to Europe, he's played in Europe, he's played, you know, Crystal Palace, Tottenham, Nottingham Forest, who's now in the Premier League, congratulations to them. It's weird that nearly a decade, or pretty much a decade ago, we're in the same league as each other, but anyway, you know, he's played in European clubs like Toulouse and in Belgium and things like that. Someone like that that's been around the blocks and played for a certain number of clubs, someone like that with tons of experience under his belt, you know, a proper professional footballer has watched my content. Like, I can't tell you how amazing that feels as a person. So on a personal level, I am really sad about Bostock leaving, because he's a wonderful guy to speak to on and off camera. You know, he's such a wonderful, wonderful guy. And, you know, on a personal level, I wish every single bit of success in his future. Been at the club 18 months, arrived January before last under Darren Moore. Was part of the Darren Moore brand of signings, along with the likes of Omar Bogle. We know how that ended. He did have some good games. You know, don't let him depart in mask the fact that he's had some good games. You know, I don't want people coming out on. I know some people have done it already, but some people are saying that he's a rubbish player and this, that, and the other, and that he should never have, you know, stayed here past the summer and stuff like that. And I'm reading that and I'm thinking, hang on a minute. when we have a good game, you'll praise him, but as soon as he's gone, you'll forget. Some people will forget about all the games he's done well in and just say, glad he's gone, move on. To those fans that are just completely, you know, just cancelling out the positives in his game, remember the positives. He's had positive spells. He's had a few positive games. Yes, it's not enough consistently, but do not eliminate any kind of praise that he's had. If you're one of those fans, don't do it, because he's had some positive moments. He's had positive spells. He's had that run of games coming up towards the end of the season where he's been an absolute rock in that midfield. He's had positive games since he's been with us. You know, he has shown time and time again he can do a job there. You know, the reason why he left, you know, people want me to speak about the reason why he left. You know, Coppinger came out and said that he didn't want to play his training League 2. Fair enough, that's his decision. You know, let's be brutally honest here. If someone didn't want to stay with the club through the bad times in League 2, then what's the point in staying here? So, for all parties, I think it was probably the right decision in the long term. In terms of what the last paragraph was said about Coppinger, about the midfield itself, moving on from John Bostock. Obviously, we've brought in Harrison Biggins. That, for me, isn't John Bostock's replacement. That, for me, is Matt Smith's replacement. You've got Close, who I think will probably be the John Bostock replacement. People can say in the comment section, well, that's not a new signing, is it? But, you know, I'm not praising, and don't take this as me praising the board here or anything like that. For me, Ben Close, yeah, perfect. For me, I think Ben Close is probably Clayton's long-term replacement. Forgive me if I'm wrong here, but I personally feel like that is Clayton's replacement. I think he sits perfectly in that deep playmaker role, dictates the play, and does the donkey work at the back as well. That, for me, is what Close can do. Yes, Close can also play more advanced, so he's a very versatile player, and I think that's probably what we're going for in this market. We're going for versatile players. Look at the players we're linked with. Kieran Dunn, for example. Left back, left wing back, left midfield, left wing. Aidan Barlow's got a brand new contract to the club. Can play on the left, on the right, at cam, at wing back, which is not his preferred position, but he has played there sometimes this season. So we've got versatile. Joe Dadu, you know, we play him up front, but apparently his best trait is playing him out wide. So, you know, but he might not stay anyway. But you get what I mean. Like, it seems like we're going for versatile players, but I could be wrong. But look, I think that overall, I think in terms of the midfield, I still think we need to bring at least one more in terms of the centre. A proper Bostock replacement, someone who is a playmaker. Harrison Biggins is your box-to-box energetic workhorse. Adam Clayton's your deep line playmaker. Ben Close is your advanced playmaker as well as deep line playmaker and holding playmaker. I think you need an out-and-out technically gifted playmaker, either on loan or you bring in a permanent that's like 20, 21 years old with a few years in him, and then bring in a loanee for a season, someone who's applied his trade somewhere already, who's that playmaker role that you can slot in the starting lineup when Close isn't playing, when this development guy isn't playing, and then you loan out Liam Ravenhill, which I think we're probably going to do anyway. So for me, I think we still need to bring in a playmaker permanently, a development player like your Aidan Barlow, Kieran Dunn would probably be, you know, that kind of player that you want to develop over the next few years. You know, Bobby Faulkner is a working project, a homegrown working project. Aidan Barlow, if he proves himself next season, he's a working project. You know, and Ben Close, you know, he might be, what, 25? I think he's still a working project for me. So he's a more experienced working project. Olowu, Younger, they're working projects. So I think that, you know, we'll probably have to bring in another, a proper out-and-out, technically gifted, advanced playmaker that is a working project, and then bring in a loanee that's applied his trade in the AFL before for a season, just to compete for that first team spot that will be the benchmark, shall we say. I wouldn't say an experienced loanee. I'd also go for like a maybe under 23 loanee or something like that. But you get what I mean. Like a loanee that's applied his trade before, but you also need to bring in that development player who's going to work over the next few years, work for the club, work for the badge in that role. Now that Bostock's gone, but now that Bostock's going, I wouldn't exclude bringing in any more centre midfielders. I wouldn't do that because you're already setting yourself up for danger. So that would be how I would go anyway. But there we are, guys. That's your 2 brand new contracts. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. I am the CHALL, your sports fan, and that is full time.